And hello everybody, you're live. It's Monday night, August 11th. If you have a question for the show, you can send it to SherryTalkRadio at yahoo.com. Been real busy this week looking through a lot of codes, kind of picking up where I left off last week, because we've definitely got some times ahead of us, folks, and I know loud and clear my job is to inform everybody of what's coming and what's really happening right now. Okay, September 2008, like I've always said back in March and all that this year could be 2009 prophetically in the Bible code years, the Hebrew years, or it could be 2008, wasn't really sure what year. Either way, I think things are going to be accelerated for this September. This September will start 2009, and the things that we thought would happen next year in 2009 will happen this year in 2009, kind of like a backwards thing. They always have different months and time routes of things that they can pull things off in. And so that's always something I've had to stay on top of, and that's why I've always said you never know what they're going to do until they do it. But what I can do is give you a plan A, B, and C that they have at the moment kind of thing, because they listen to this show. And as I expose things, they change things. And so it's almost like a chessboard, and you'll see in the Bible codes game, board. And that's exactly what it is. It's a chessboard, and trying to stay a step ahead of them, and which is why they're forced to change their plans, because I'm always a step ahead of them. I know I am. I've seen it a million times, and because I'm always a step ahead of them, it leaves them in derision and bewilderment, and they have to change their plans. And so eventually time just runs out, and things have to happen. And so I think that for now, September is going to be a pivotal month. I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing for September. Now, whether this comes about this September or not, and it's pushed back and delayed or canceled or moved back to September of next year, our 2009, then so be it. But for tonight, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm seeing to happen for next month. And like I said, times can change, timetables can change. Nothing is set in stone until they take a decisive step and make it happen. But their plans are pretty paranoid right now because, like I revealed last week, this avian flu is not avian, it's alien. It's alien flu, and it's making them sick. It's a plague against the Most High God, against the aliens and hybrids on this earth. And it's not affecting real human people that are born. It's affecting them. It's affecting the tares of the world. In Matthew, the Bible talks about the wheat and the tares. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing the tares being plagued. And so what they're doing, I don't know how they know, but September is, the Most High Yahuwah is going to increase the magnitude of the orgone that we have out in the world. And when he does that, and I don't think they realize it's the orgone, because I see a lot of times in the Bible codes, hindsight, backsight, reevaluation, because they're going to be reevaluating everything and looking back, because for a long time they just didn't think this orgone was anything, and they've spied on me for years, and they've followed me for years. But like I've always said, intelligence is only as good as the person who's interpreting what they're seeing. Because the Lord showed me back in 2004 where I had spy satellites and everything else spying on me, and it's really just been a part of my life the last couple of years. But anyway, it hasn't stopped anything. In fact, it hasn't stopped us one bit at all. But we've put this orgone all over the world. It's all over this country in America, and warriors around the world have bought it. I know Canada and Australia, a lot of warriors up in those areas protecting their areas, and various parts of the other countries could probably use a lot more, but they're just going to have to do with what they have, with the countries that do have it. Their areas will be protected, because the Lord's going to increase the magnitude of the orgone, the power that the orgone emits. And when he does that, you're going to start seeing these aliens and hybrids. Bible codes refer to them as locust and bison and buffalo. They're going to start dropping over dead. And it started a while ago with this in China, because there's a lot of hybrid races. The Asians are a hybrid race. You're going to see it in China. You're going to see it hit Japan. You're going to see it hit the Middle East. And then it's going to come to America and start wiping out the hybrids here. In America, it's much harder to hide because they look just like we do. They look like normal white Americans or black Americans, but they're not human. They're hybrid. Women have been being abducted by UFOs for years, and used as breeding experiments, and these aliens that come in human bodies on Earth posing as humans, or even just aliens coming out right and shape-shifting as humans and things like that, they're going to start dropping over dead because they're going to get this alien bird flu. And so somehow the government knows this, and they've prepared. They've got coffins stacked in Atlanta, also rumored to be out in Montana. Over 500,000 coffins, and I was reading 500,000, that's it? Because what I'm seeing is we could get millions of them this way. I know that we've depleted underground bases. We've chased them out of NORAD. They've even moved NORAD over to the Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado. I bombarded NORAD a couple of years ago with Oregon. Shortly after, they were hightailing it out of there and going to Peterson. Dulce Base. We effectively shut down Dulce Base. And if you don't know about Dulce Base in New Mexico, you can read about it at my website, thewatcherfiles.com. Just put in Dulce Base in the search box, D-U-L-C-E. Bases in Kentucky, bases around the world have been our target. And we've been wiping them out of the underground bases, these aliens that have been living under the earth. And when the Lord increases the magnitude of this Oregon and ups the strength, we're just going to start seeing it on top of the surface now. Instead of everything being in the background where we can't see them, it's going to be your neighbors, it's going to be your pastors. People are going to get this alien flu and just die. It burns them from the inside out. And I've also have told you for years that this Oregon is apocryphal. And when you see it in the Bible codes, it always refers to, you always see Jude and John listed, especially with John, because those who are chip implanted, the Bible talks about a plague of boils as a punishment. They break out in boils. And this is exactly what the Oregon causes people that are demon-possessed. They break out in boils. I witnessed that myself a couple of years ago with a lady who had given a pendant to, who was demon-possessed, and she couldn't wear the Oregon pendant because she was breaking out in boils. And then when I started seeing it in the codes, I realized it's the Oregon. There's some kind of conflict with a human that's demon-possessed. And you'll also see it with people that are heavily chip implanted. They'll start burning. You know, if you want to know where your chip implants are, sometimes you can just put Oregon on you like a pendant and see what burns, what area burns. And then you can take a magnet, a neodyme magnet, and tape it onto that area with a Band-Aid and leave it there for a day. It'll deactivate that chip. You know, I've been talking about chip deactivation for years and how to deactivate chips because we all get them. We get them from flu shots, vaccinations. Sometimes you don't even leave the hospital anymore as a baby, just born before you have a chip implant. And so you can deactivate those chip implants. But somehow they're onto this. They're onto what's going to happen in September with this avian flu, this alien flu, and they're bracing. They're bracing. It's going to be pure pandemonium for them. The whole race of them just getting sick. There will be survivors. I don't think Obama's going to be one of them. I've talked about since January how I've seen Obama's death in the codes. I don't think he's going to escape it. I think Bush will. He's got something to do where he's going to be going to Miami or Tampa, Florida, and there's all kinds of stuff going on down in Tampa, Florida at MacDill Air Force Base. There's the U.S. Central Command and CENTCOM, which is running the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's also the U.S. Special Operations Command, and all special forces of every military branch is controlled under this unified command, along with the worldwide operations of special force units. They're all linked at this base, at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa. And so Bush is going to be heading there. I can see it in the codes. I'm not sure exactly which month. I would assume September sometime. But what I'm seeing is just pure pandemonium in September. And that could be a reason why they may have to push martial law, because they're going to lose control. When they start seeing their own entire race dying off, they're going to get desperate, basically. So they could implement martial law here in America.